Thank you all. After hearing Ray's introduction, I don't know what I have to say in addition. I'm going, bye. I think Ray said it all, but let me thank Wendy Barnes. Let me thank Fernando Lozada. Let me thank Greg Mitre, Melinda Markowitz, Asoshi Kobaruba, yes, Barbie Olivera, and of course Ray for that great introduction. Mostly, let me thank all of you for being here.
We love you, Bernie!
You know, I've gone all over this country since we began this campaign a year ago. And when we began this campaign, people were saying, and it's not just about me, I'm not the important guy, you guys are, people were saying these ideas, the ideas that we have a corrupt campaign finance system, the ideas that we have a rigged economy, the idea that we have a broken criminal justice system, the idea that we have an economy in which working people are working longer hours for lower wages and almost all new income and wealth is going to the top 1%. Who is going to be demanding change from that system? I say, and what the media hasn't caught on and what the establishment hasn't caught on is the American people are sick and tired of establishment politics and establishment economics. Now, I went to the University of Chicago and I got some good economics lessons there, but I will tell you the major economics lesson that I learned in my life. And that is growing up in a 3.5-room apartment in Brooklyn, New York, in a family that didn't have any money. That's my major economics lesson. And that reality exists all over California. It exists all over the United States of America. We should be, what this campaign is about in a very significant way, is demanding that the American people think outside of the box, outside of the status quo, and demand a nation that is worthy of all of us. The debate in Congress should not be whether we cut education or food stamps or health care. The debate should be how much the wealthiest people and largest corporations start paying in taxes. The debate should not be how many people we throw off of the Affordable Care Act. The debate should be why in the United States not every man, woman, and child gets health care as a right. What the American people understand is that we are living with a rigged economy. Look, here is the fact. If we were a poor nation, and there are poor nations, if we were a poor nation, we would have a certain type of discussion. But let us be clear, media won't talk about it, but you understand it. This is the wealthiest nation in the history of the world. There is no excuse for 47 million people living in poverty. There is no excuse for American workers working 2 or 3 jobs just to earn enough money to take care of their families. There is no excuse for women making 79 cents on the dollar. But this is what America is about today. It is a nation in which the top 0.1% now own almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. 90%. Does anybody think that has anything to do with justice or morality? I was in San Francisco a couple of weeks ago, and literally, I could not believe it. There were people, I didn't know, honest to God, if they were alive or dead. They were lying out on, sleeping, I suppose, just right out on the sidewalk. You had to step over them. You have veterans sleeping out on the street. You have children in America who are hungry. I went to the an American Indian reservation where the life expectancy is 58 years of age. I was in southern West Virginia, where people are dying 18 years younger than a wealthy county 6 hours north. We got 29 million Americans who have no health insurance, and many of you have high deductibles and high copayments. And yet, we are living in an economy where almost all of the new income and wealth is going to the top 1%. Brothers and sisters, from the bottom of my heart, I tell you, it is too late for establishment politics and establishment economics. We need a political revolution. As Ray indicated, we are tired of politicians in both parties hustling money from the wealthy and the powerful. We need a political system in which the voices of working families, the pain of the middle class, starts being heard in Washington, D.C. So let me just talk a little bit about what I intend to do with you when we make it to the White House. Because the first point that I want to make, and I'm the only candidate probably ever to have said this, no president can do it alone. Wall Street is too powerful, and they have endless supplies of money. The corporate America's greed is so strong. The wealthy campaign contributors are so powerful. Corporate media determines what we see and what we don't see. The only way we make change in America is when millions of people engage in the political process in a way that we have not previously seen. I can't do it alone. We have to do it together. You and I are going to have to tell the billionaire class that they cannot get it all, that this economy and our government belong to all of us. Now, what does that mean specifically? Number one, we're going to end a corrupt campaign finance system so that billionaires will not continue to buy elections. It is not the American way. It's not what America is supposed to be about when you got billionaires like the Koch brothers prepared to spend hundreds of millions of dollars. It is an absurdity that you have a multi-billionaire like Sheldon Adelson contributing large sums of money to another billionaire like Donald Trump. What a joke! Our message is billionaires are not going to run this country. I am very proud that the way we have received our campaign contributions is not through super PACs. 8 million people made individual campaign contributions. 8 million campaign contributions from 2 million Americans, averaging $27. And that is what our campaign is about. And that is, by the way, just a little bit different approach than Hillary Clinton uses. Secretary Clinton has a number of super PACs, and many of them are raising money from Wall Street and powerful special interests. I don't think you take on Wall Street. I don't think you break up the large financial institutions by taking millions of dollars from those people. What this campaign is about is making certain that in America, anyone who works 40 hours a week is not living in poverty. That is not a radical idea. And that is why together we're going to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And That is why we're going to end the sexism forcing women to make 79 cents on the dollar. And that is why we're going to create 13 million jobs at good pay by rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure. This is America. Our roads, our bridges, our water systems, our wastewater plants, our piers, our levees, our dams should not be crumbling. This is America, and we are going to demand a trade policy which works for the American people, not just for China. If corporate America wants us to buy their products, the time is long overdue for them to start building those factories in this country. You know, Pope Francis talks about this, talks about the need for a moral economy. A moral economy is not an economy where CEOs make tens of millions of dollars a year, ship our jobs abroad, and then take away health care from their workers. That is the type of culture, corporate culture, that has got to be fundamentally changed. There is more to life than billionaires making more money. What we are about is expanding the middle class. What we are about is abolishing poverty. What we are about is making sure that our kids get a quality education. Now, you know, everybody here knows it. 50 years ago, when my parents were growing up, it was appropriate, it was okay, that if you had a high school degree, you could make it into the middle class and get a decent job. Our young people today need more education, and in an economy which is always changing, all of our people need the education to keep up with the changing technology. 50 years ago, a high school degree was just fine, but the world has changed. Today, we have got to make public colleges and universities tuition-free. And we have to deal with the crisis of student debt. Too many people. All over this country, millions of people are struggling with outrageous levels of student debt. All right, and in my view, we got to deal with that issue. And the way we deal with it is allowing those people to refinance their loans at the lowest interest rates they can find. In this country today, we have got to understand that this is the year 2016. Technology has made every worker here more productive than he or she was 20, 30 years ago. Is that right? And then the question that we have to ask, if people are becoming more productive, producing more, why are people working in this country longer hours for lower wages? And it all gets back to the fact that the people on Wall Street, the people on corporate America, could care less about the average American. And we are going to change that reality. Our message today to corporate America is, you will not continue to get it all. You will not continue to treat your workers like crap. Today in the United States, brothers and sisters, we are the only major country on earth, the only one, that does not guarantee health care to all people as a right. Go to the United Kingdom, go to France, go to Germany, go to Holland, go to Scandinavia. I live 50 miles away from the Canadian border. You go to Canada. I believe from the bottom of my heart, something I believe for my entire life, health care is a right of all people, not a privilege. Now, the Affordable Care Act has done some good things, and I'm proud to have voted for that. But we have to go much further. And that means we will end the absurdity of 29 million Americans today having no health insurance. How many of you have high deductibles and co-payments? Every person here who has a high deductible and a high co-payment, and millions of Americans above and beyond. These are folks, if you don't have any money and you get sick and you have a high deductible, you know what happens? You don't go to the doctor. You get sicker, and sometimes people die. And every person here and every person in America is getting ripped off by the unconscionable greed of the pharmaceutical industry, who are charging us the highest prices in the world. You want to hear crazy in this country? Crazy is when 1 out of 5 Americans who go to the doctor cannot afford to fill their prescriptions. And crazy is when last year the 5 largest drug companies made $50 billion in profit. We have the intelligence in this country, we have the technology in this country, we have the capabilities in this country to in fact create a decent life for all of our people. This is not utopian dreaming. This is not pie in the sky. This is what we can do if we stand together. Together, we are going to pass a Medicare for all single-payer program. And when we do that, we end the absurdity. It's not a radical idea. It exists virtually all over the world in industrialized countries. We are now paying, this is how crazy it is, we pay 3 times more than the British do per person to guarantee health care to all people in Britain. We pay 50% more than the French. Together, we're going to end that absurdity. Together, every man, woman, and child will be entitled to comprehensive health care. Together, here in California, in my state of Vermont, you know, you got kids whose parents never went to college. My parents never went to college. And those kids, for many of those kids, the idea of getting a college education is like something they cannot conceive of. Our job is to make sure that every child in the United States, in the 4th grade, in the 6th grade, understands that if he or she studies hard and does well in school, yes, that child will be able to get a college education, regardless of their income. I am a member of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Environment. It is incomprehensible to me that we have candidates, Republican candidates, coming before the American people, folks like Donald Trump. Oh, you know about Donald Trump, who, among many other things, refused to even acknowledge the reality of climate change, let alone address it in a significant way. But we know better. We know better. We know that the scientific community is virtually unanimous in that climate change is real. It is caused by human activity. It is already doing devastating harm in our country, in California, and all over this world. And you know what? We together are going to have the courage to stand up to the fossil fuel industry. And we are together going to tell them that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet. And together we are going to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to sustainable energy and energy efficiency. And together, when we do that, we're going to create millions of great jobs here in California and all over this country. But our campaign is not just taking on the billionaire class, and it's not just taking on a corrupt campaign finance system. It is dealing with issues like a broken criminal justice system. All of you should know that it is an international embarrassment that our country has more people in jail than any other country on earth. We are spending $80 billion a year, $80 billion to lock up 2.2 million Americans. 2.2 million Americans today are behind bars. Now, one of the reasons we have so many people in jail is there are communities all over this country where youth unemployment is 30, 40, 50%. My view is that we should invest in our young people in jobs and education, not just in jails and incarceration. It is not a radical idea to say that young people in California and Vermont should have jobs or get a good education rather than hanging out on street corners getting themselves into trouble. And it is not a radical idea to say that we need fundamental reforms of local police departments all across this country. The average police officer is honest and hardworking and has a difficult job to do. But when a police officer, like any other public official, breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. We have got to end we have to demilitarize local police departments and make police departments look like the communities they serve in their diversity. Here is where we are today in this campaign. Let me just briefly go over that. When we started, nobody thought that this campaign would go anyplace. Well, it turns out they were slightly mistaken. We have now won primaries and caucuses in 20 states in this country. And with your help, on June 7th, we're going to win here in California. And the reason that we are going to win is the American people are smarter than the political leaders give them credit for. They're smarter than Wall Street understands, and they're smarter than corporate America understands. And the point that somebody just shouted out is exactly the point I was going to make. The American people are sick and tired of the status quo. Enough is enough. And our people are not going to take it anymore. All over this country, and I've been from Maine to California and met so many extraordinary people. What I want to tell you, and what gives me so much hope, is I have met so many people, great people, who love this country and want this country and are prepared to help make this country so much more than we are today. They know the potential of this country. They know that there is something absurd when for the last 25 years, the American middle class has been shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. They know that there is something wrong when half of the kids in public schools today in the richest country on earth are living on free, are getting their nutrition on free or reduced lunches. They know that there is something wrong when in most families in America today, dad is out working, mom is out working, the kids are out working, and 58% of all new income is going to the 1%. They understand that when millions of people are unemployed, How does it happen that our infrastructure continues to collapse? Why don't we put those people to work rebuilding our infrastructure? They understand that it is crazy that in this country we are the only major country not to provide paid family and medical leave for our families. In America, women should not be giving birth to beautiful babies and 2 weeks later have to go back to work to support those families. And that's why together we're going to pass 3 months of paid family and medical leave. And they understand that there is something totally crazy, that the private insurance companies and the drug companies ripping us off every day, and so many people are uninsured or underinsured, and that we remain the only wealthy country not to guarantee health care to all people. What this campaign ultimately is about is millions of people standing up and demanding a government which represents all of us, not just the 1%. What this campaign is about is not allowing the Donald Trumps of the world to divide us up. Demagoguery and dividing people up has just been going on for hundreds of years. What they want to do is to tell us we're supposed to dislike people of Mexican origin, or Muslims, or blacks, or whites, or gay people, and all that stuff. And you divide everybody up, and you know what happens? The rich get richer, and everybody else gets poorer. We know that trick, and we ain't falling for that trick. We are going to stand together by the millions and create an economy that works for all of us, a healthcare system that guarantees healthcare to all people, making public colleges and universities tuition-free, a trade policy that works for American workers, not just the CEOs. And nothing that I'm saying is radical. People will tell you, oh, it is radical. It is not radical. And yes, we are going to demand that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. Brothers and sisters, we can win here in California. We can win in many of the other states coming up on June 7th. With your support, we can go into the Democratic National Convention with a great deal of momentum. And we can come out with the Democratic nomination. And let me tell you this also. Every poll that you have seen in the last 2 months not only has us defeating Donald Trump, but defeating him by large numbers. My memory is correct. Just the other day, a poll here in California had us 17, 18 points ahead of Trump. What this campaign is about, which makes it different than other campaigns. Yeah, we're going to elect the president, but you know what else we're going to do? We're going to transform America. We're going to transform our economy, transform our political system, and create a nation in which all of our people are involved in the process, where they are helping shape, working people are shaping the future, not just wealthy campaign contributors. So I want to thank all of you for your support. I want to thank the ILWU for their endorsement. I want to thank the National Nurses United for their support. I want to thank all those who are fighting for $15 an hour and to make sure that those workers can join a union. Our ideas, make no mistake about it, our ideas, by the way, which are bringing millions of young people into the political process. Our ideas and belief in economic justice, in social justice, in racial justice, in environmental justice, in immigration reform and a path toward citizenship, in rebuilding inner cities throughout this country, in protecting the needs of the Native American people. Our ideas are the future of this country. Let's stand up, let's fight for them, let's win this election. Thank you.
Hey, before you go, you want to go eat? I gotta take the girl.